So this is the second layer. Actually, it's the third layer of a print that I like, but I'm gonna risk ruining. I'll show you. It's that guy. See it behind me over there? So that would be the first layer on that. That black line making on that is the first layer. He, whatever, feels a little bit futuristic. It's a little bit like some sort of like law enforcement, some sort of like future law enforcement slash like wanderer. And I'd like that, except for I'm not much into like making pictures about science fiction, so it's kind of a weird one, I think. And I think when I cover it with the blue stripe, which is a motif I use a lot, it might just start to be more me, or that it's better that it's a new something that I've never done before, and I don't know what will be better, but I'm willing to risk it. So yeah.
We're working on this antiquated offset press. So like this press came from Massachusetts, and it was initially used to proof newspapers. So they would have their plate that had the newspaper there, and they would just proof it, and they'd see if they had any typos, if everything looked correct. And that's entirely what this press was used for. It was just a proofing press. But after like the 60s and 70s, these presses got co-opted for like art purposes. And you see there was a lot of them in institutions for a while, and then they kind of went out of favor. And but yeah, now they're kind of back in favor.
So that's kind of like what I mean about it starts to excavate the brush stroke, and you start seeing only parts of the brush stroke, and that in and of itself is really exciting to me. Enough to want to like stop, but I don't anymore.
It's true that I'll say what's really nice about this process is the fidelity of that brush stroke is so true, and it doesn't get squished. It doesn't it's not like a wood cut. It's just like, it's a really nice one-to-one of that painterly stroke. What's really nice about this process is we can get a full range of color on one plate, where normal printmaking techniques, like one color means one plate, and it can be kind of onerous, and like it just takes a long time to get color prints out. And so it's really exciting to get like full color, large scale in one day.
Just texture about that light.
Yes.
So that these whites pop more.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know yet. Okay. Storm has incised lines with a needle, drawing into this soft plate, which is acrylic. Traditionally, it's done on metal, and today we generally use copper. So in the traditional manner that goes back many centuries, we are putting ink on the plate and then taking it off with a stiff tarlatan, and eventually we will wipe the excess by hand to reveal the very fine lines that he's put into the plate. So we get the ink on the plate, and then we take it all off except for the incised parts that hold the ink. then it's pressed, then it's printed on a metal press with a great deal of pressure and dampened paper, which is soft. And this paper is pushed into the incised lines and picks up the image.
I like to draw flowers, and I don't really need them to mean anything more than what you think they mean. Flower would always represent some kind of fertility, for sure. Some kind of, maybe, if you wanted to, it could suggest some kind of sex organ, I guess. But I usually just like them to be exactly what they are, which is a sort of like joyous and free and extremely abstract in their nature, you know?
So early in the morning we cooked our paste, which is like a wheat starch. And after it's cooled down in a like double boiler with cold water running through it, it gets to this jelly consistency. What we use this for is for backing, seaming, and Chine-collé. It's essentially a glue or a paste that we use to adhere papers together. And what I'm doing right now is I'm taking it from this jelly consistency and straining it to this really fine paste. Once it's just like a fine paste, we dilute it with water, and depending on what we want to do, that's how much water we want. To look at how this drips. It drips slowly. If it drips too fast, the water content is too much. So the glue is very, very diluted, and probably not what we want for this. So for seaming, we want really thick paste. And what seaming is putting two pieces of paper together by just like a very small edge of paper, and that's what's holding it. So we want really thick paste, so the papers have this nice hold within each other. For backing or for Chine-collé, you want it to dilute it a lot more, and it just depends on the paper. Chine means Chinese paper, and collé means to collage. So in a lot of Western printing, we're using cotton-based papers. We take a fine paper like combi, and we put it onto the plate, and then we mist a little bit of water and put some paste, the one we have right here. And what it is doing is printing and pasting at the same time while it's going under the press. So you're able to get two different tones of paper, or even just like a sheen of paper. It's actually really nice. You get to splash around some water. It smells really quite nice. It has a soft smell. It's kind of hard to explain. Here I'm just smoothing it out against the grain of the bowl using my brush. It makes it easy to dilute with water.
So pretty. So into that one.
Everything's coming.
I like working on things that are either like ultimately personal, to the point that they're like unknowable for anyone, or they're just universally understood, you know? And I like maybe even putting those two things side by side. Printmaking, I think, in essence, is interpretation. It interprets my thing, and it shows me a new thing. It's almost like a translation.